All right. I got to get this off my chest. I just do. I have to get this off of my chest. I'll bring the chat up here in a bit, but I just want to keep this thumbnail in here for a bit. So obviously this is a very provocative title, and today, I don't know if it's because it's the end of 2020 and I'm just done with the bullshit, or if it's because I've had too much coffee this morning, or if it's because I have to go through these. I'm reminded of how crappy all of this system is because I've had to go through it recently again, during the job search and stuff. And I just got to say, the reason I have to make a video about this is because for the longest time as a mentor, as a professional mentor, I've been mandating sort of, you never mandate anything as a mentor, but particularly the young people that, oh, you need a LinkedIn. And I'm like, you need a LinkedIn. Are you 16 yet? You need to get LinkedIn. You need to do all this stuff. And I've had many very, very astute, patient, caring developers who I have run into, particularly over the last year, have told me, dude, you don't need a LinkedIn to get a good job. If you're good enough, people will come to you, and you don't need to go through the LinkedIn crap. And I gotta tell you, I really take that to heart. And today was the last straw. I was out there on LinkedIn this morning, and I just had my coffee. I just woken up, and I get this post from some Yahoo. I don't even know who it was, and it was like following your passion is the worst possible advice you could ever give. And it's this just idiot. I mean, this total idiot speaking to a crowd of young people inside at a university. And he's sort of mansplaining to the woman who's interviewing him. I was just like totally raging. I was like, this is everything that's wrong. Have we not learned anything here? And you can tell that she has kind of an issue with what he's saying, but he's like being really contrarian and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, am I ever that guy? If I am ever that guy, someone Davey 504 slapped the shit out of me. I never want to be that human being. And again, I've told you guys before about the Buddhist saying, it's like, it's good when you have these encounters with people who are, the Buddhists call like your enemies. Thank your enemy, because they help show you what you don't want to be. And I was like watching this thing. I'm like, I never, ever want to come off as that guy. Sure. He was trying to be a realist, and he was trying to say, look, you don't want to follow your passion because, your passion isn't necessarily going to pay you and all these other capitalist shit. And I was like, you know what? Why don't you actually follow your passion? I tell you what, I'll listen to Joseph Campbell more than you and your little, run around and make a bunch of money shilling crap. It's one thing to have opinions and express them and have strong opinions and then share them with the community. I think it's a totally different thing to be running around selling the most, hyperbolic crap that you possibly can. So anyway, and that people have seen my Twitter before, and I've posted in my Twitter about, and you're going to be crazy because you can say, well, Twitter's not better. It actually is. Twitter is way better. In fact, the stream, I actually, one of the posts I did on Twitter got the most laughs was because I was posting the examples. I was screenshotting examples of crap from my LinkedIn feed, and it's like random dangerous, kangaroo here. And then it's like, they get tired of LinkedIn. You know what, Peter? I tried to really give it a shot. I did. I really tried to give it a shot. And I was like, because, this is the thing. And okay, there's a couple of things that really broke the camel's back for me. One of them was, the first one this year was just the absolute annoyance with the interface. My fan comes on every time I open the LinkedIn page. That's how bad it is. It's like a testament to the worst possible web design possible. It is. It's like, seriously, it's so bad. It's so totally bad. It's exactly what happens when a web application goes out of control and it doesn't have anything. So that's the first thing. It's a horribly useless application. Number two, they hid all of my profile information for me. I can't even get it all. So I'm like going there, my wife's in there trying to screenshot all my stuff because she's afraid. She's totally afraid that I'm not going to be able to, get that information after this rant. She's probably right. She's not mad or anything, but she's just like, we need to screenshot all of this. And we need open source alternatives. We totally do. Let's talk about that in a second. This is a great conversation starting here in the chat. I want to turn to the chat in a bit. Let me just finish up these points. The third thing was, I can't even get my own data out of the thing. I have to screen scrape the thing And even if I do that, I'm in violation of their terms. They have all my data because there's an entire way for you to get all your data through the API, but you have to be a partner. If there's not any more evidence that you're the product instead of the client, that's it. I'm sick of being the client. And so is everybody else. We are sick of being sold to the highest bidder because of our free information. I don't even have an option. Even if I paid them, I paid them for premium earlier this year, right? I paid them for premium earlier this year. I still couldn't get my data through the API because they don't want you to take your data off there because then you'll leave the service naturally. So what they do is they get you in and then they stick you in fourth. What else do they do? It's a very well-known technique from social engineering. It's been documented. What do? They send you notifications all the time in email, right? They're worse than freaking Facebook. They're sending you all these notifications all the time. So-and-so, your old friend from this job here is contacting you, and this is the only place you can get a hold of that person because guess what? We've got you convinced. We've culturally invaded you, and we've told you that, hey, we're on your side, just like all the oppressors described in Paulo Freire's book. We've told you that we're on your side, but instead of being on your side, we're going to hold all of your business contacts for ransom, and we're never going to give you that information. We're not going to allow you to have email exchanges, and you're actually going to have to contact our service just to see this 3-line message that they sent you, because that's a known tactic through social media engineering, which is documented in the social dilemma. It's totally documented in there. And so what are we left with? We're left with this piece of crap service that has all the power, thinks it has all the power over everything, is continuing to do that and sell you to all the other people, the crappy, okay, so fifth, you get contacted by tons and tons of crappy recruiters. Crappy recruiters who have no interest in anything you're doing. There's no way, and people tell me all the time, oh, I got a job off there. Fine. If you got a job off there, great. But I tell you what, I bet for 9 out of 10 people who get a job off LinkedIn, it doesn't work out well. I'll bet you that right now, because every job I've got hasn't even been through LinkedIn. It's been through a friend of a friend who trusted me. I've told you, getting a job is about trust. You have to form trust with the person on the other side. You have to form trust with the company. You know what a better way to get a job is? Actually research the companies that you want to work for. Know what you want to do. Make a conscientious effort to make a connection with somebody at the company. If they have a recruiter agency, fine. Recruiters aren't bad. Find yourself a recruiter. Find yourself a recruiter who is your friend. I actually made really good friends with a recruiter from Texas when I got into IBM. He would call me all the time and say, how's it going? You know, same with Rob Kemp, another one who got me my Nike job. The recruiters are not the problem. The problem is that recruiters think they have to go through LinkedIn to get to you. So what do? You reach out, you do the research, you take back control. Don't let people dictate to you how you're going to get your job. Then you say, look, I'm going to seek out, in whatever way possible. I'm going to know what I want to be. I'm going to start reaching out. I'm going to reach out to my friends, ask them who they have as a recruiter. I don't need LinkedIn for that because I have email and Slack and Discord and the phone. I can get a hold of these people. And by the way, if you don't have contact with somebody from your old work or something, and that's the only way you've contacted them, and the only time you're ever going to talk to them is through LinkedIn, there's another problem there, right? They should have your email address and something. So, that's the worst part of this, is that they actually are holding my old friends from work hostage. And so, I've got hundreds and hundreds of friends on LinkedIn that I don't want to lose, but at the same time, I'm just not okay with keeping it. And I did the same thing with Facebook. I lost contact with lots of people from my family because I dropped Facebook. I just couldn't do it anymore. Not to mention the fact that Facebook totally derailed the any kind of family dialogue that we were having because they inflated all of their echo chamber politics and everything. And then I can't even talk to them. So I am really, really spun up right now, and I figured it was time for me to make a video. Here comes my wife. Hi.
It's still morning where we live.
It's still what?
Still morning till we live until 4 o'clock.
It's still morning until 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I say morning?
Oh.
It is morning.
I'm just going to say a person I follow.
A person you follow?
Is in Park City, Utah, and posted gorgeous pictures. I'm like,
well,
now I know why my
Park City
wants to take me there.
That's where the 1% live, though. Nobody lives there except for really exclusive, rich, white yuppies, Mormons. Actually, no, there's some of it. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I'm talking.
I'm speaking.
I'm speaking. She had to come in and calm me down because she's my muse. She's my base. She's my rock. She's so awesome. She's like, please don't freak out. And she didn't say that, but I could see it in her eyes. So let me just say, I am done. I am done with them. Does that mean I'm going to lose access to lynda.com? Probably. But you know what? If you need something like that, you can go down to the library and get access to that. companies to search for. So here's the lie. I'm going to say that this is a lie. The lie that LinkedIn keeps perpetuating is that here's another one. Okay. Number 6, LinkedIn puts out a survey all the time of where you should go for the job and where you should work. And this happened a year ago, 2 years ago. They put this big, really beautiful graphic, illustrated survey of the best places to work for whatever, full stack development. The best thing for this, best thing for that. You know what it's all based on? A bunch of bogus crap data from their LinkedIn database. Do they tell you that at all? No, but they present their survey like it's this big scientific study about the emerging things. You know what they had to do? They had to roll back one of their fintech recommendations because the following year it was a complete bust for that particular thing. I'm not saying fintech is a bust, but that specific role that they had described based on, and it said down, there's a little tiny fine print at the bottom. It says all survey results or all conclusions here are based in LinkedIn data, which means that you know why they decide where you're moving? By all the people keeping up to date with their status title. I am a software developer and I live in San Francisco, or I live here. So they publish all this data, the definitive LinkedIn whatever survey, scientific survey of what you should do and insights into where you should go and what you should work in and where everybody is, all based on LinkedIn data. How up to date is the LinkedIn data? When's the last time you updated, your stuff? A lot of people don't. And how many people are not even on LinkedIn? And now they're presenting it as this. It's like the Stack Exchange survey. They present it as this like authoritative answer to the world's problems. So you should trust every one of their decisions. You should learn this and this and this because all the people who responded to a survey on Stack Exchange say this. But they don't tell you that because it's not a scientific thing. They're pumping up their own company. If it was a true scientific survey, or if it was in your best interests, they wouldn't say, do what we say. They would say, here's the results based on status, based on the demographic of these respondents to our survey. You know who doesn't answer Stack Exchange surveys? C developers, people who are SREs. A lot of web developers answer it, and that's fine. But you don't want to make all your decisions about your career based on stuff that's just coming out of a bunch of a very echo chamber like thing. That's like asking, I don't know. I mean, but LinkedIn is the same thing. The only information that they're drawing on is the stuff that comes from LinkedIn. And by the way, you don't, and the one that really pushed me over the edge though, was the inability for me to get my own data out of the system. Even after I paid them. I paid LinkedIn for like my entire resume for my whole life down to my paper route, which I put in there just to keep as kind of a personal career database. And I can't even get the data because why? Because they need to hold my data hostage to keep me there. Do you think such a company has your best interests at heart? Do you think that company is going to put the right people in your face? Are they going to make the right connections for you? No, because you know why? They're motivated by making money. They're not motivated by helping you. And you know how they make their money? Not from you. They make the money from the people who buy access to you. And those people, that access goes to the highest bidder. So you'll have company, if you're going to passively sit back and say, oh, I'm not going to get a job without LinkedIn contacting me, you're doing it wrong. I'm convinced. And I've been wrong on this for a long time. And I thought, well, maybe I bought into the narrative because I was a victim of cultural invasion. Now I understand it, where they had invaded my psyche and said, oh, this is the way to do it. This is the way everybody does it. This is the way everybody makes contacts. I'm like, no, it's not. In fact, the reality check that came that blew my cognitive dissonance away was the fact that I was meeting really amazing engineers, some of whom who weren't even college educated, that had phenomenal jobs and had people coming to them all the time, at least 2 or 3 of them. And they're like, no, I'm fine. I just reach out. And then I look back at my own life. I'm like, I have never once got a job off LinkedIn. I haven't even got a really good access to a job through LinkedIn. I haven't. If I am completely honest, since the dawn of time, I have not even got one good job contact through LinkedIn. Not one. I've been able to keep contact with people that I used to work with. I've been able to... I had a recruiter. You know what? The one recruiter who got me my best IBM job out of Nike, you know what he did? He had contacted somebody else who he had placed through word of mouth. Once again, word of mouth wins. Word of mouth, he said, hey, so-and-so says you're really great. And he says, you need to call. And I said, I can't talk to you right now. I'm too busy unless you can do $35K more. He goes, done. Flying to Dallas next week. Got the job, loved it, and went on from there. I haven't even had any good really job leads through LinkedIn, if I'm completely honest. I haven't. They suck. The worst experience with interviewing I have ever had has been through people that I made contact with through LinkedIn. The absolute, hands down, worst interviews ever have been stuff that I tried to do through LinkedIn from some recruiter who reached out to me. Do you know what else you can find out about? There are tons of places for you to find out about opportunities, and you can go to the companies directly. So I went back to IBM. I loved IBM while I was there. There was a lot of ups and downs while I was there, but there's lots of great companies out there. And I go back to IBM. They have their own, site. You can put your request in there. Everybody makes more money. You're more likely to get the job because you don't cost as much because recruiters are fucking expensive. It costs like 20 to 30% of your first year's salary for a recruiter to place you. Now, I am still not against recruiters. Sometimes it's the best thing to have a recruiter working for you and like pounding the pavement while you're off making the changes to the world and all these amazing things. So I still think that that's an option. But if you can manage to make a direct contact, which is what I did with Teleport too. I called them right up. I said, I found out about your company. Your company is awesome. I would really love to consider, do you have any opportunities? Yes, can you come in and interview? And they apologized. Lynn apologized for not paying me $35K more than she paid me because she said, we just don't have it right now, but you're definitely worth that much. She told me that during the interview. And I was like, this is an interview that I set up because I sought it out. And LinkedIn is peddling this mythology, this FUD that you're not going to get a job unless you go through LinkedIn. That you have to have this thing. You have to have them. If you don't have them, you're not going to learn the proper skills because you're not going to have access to lynda.com they bought. If you don't have them, you're not going to have access to all your old friends. You're going to hold them hostage. If you don't have them, you're not going to be notified of the job opportunities fast enough. It's all bullshit. Just say no, man. Just say no. Just throw it off. And I haven't even read all the chat. It's going crazy. I love this. Is really great. I'm going to go back and read the chat right now. But yeah, it's the thing that's funny is that when you actually reach out, and I think somebody's mentioning this, when you actually reach out to people because you know that company, and I've said this since the dawn of time, LinkedIn or otherwise, I've always said this, the best way to get a job is to establish trust. And one of the best ways to establish trust is to demonstrate that you have researched that company. You've looked at what they do. You understand their industry. You say, look, I am here because I like your company. This resume is hand tailored for your position or two that you have at this company because I have taken the time conscientiously to research you and go for you. I'm not just blanketing 1,000 resumes out there to a whole bunch of people. And if you do that, you deserve to be shot and never have a job. Not shot, okay? There are a bunch of other great places to go to prove yourself, and they're not LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not a place to prove yourself. LinkedIn is a place for someone to post random pictures of llamas and silly dogs. And I have never seen more crap than on the LinkedIn feed. And I have decent people in my feed, and I have no idea why business people think it's funny to post random crap. It's basically LinkedIn is like this. Never let Rob become a dictator. I just saw that quote come through. Look, I don't want to be a dictator. I don't want to be a dictator. Thank God. Yeah, I know, man. It's just like, I can't tell you. I just like, I'm done. And I'm done. I had to rant. I had to get it off my chest, but I also had to finally take back. I feel like I've gone through my own little personal revolution here. And I know that seems silly to those of you who've already been through it. But this is the process. This is the process people go through when they come to a realization that they've been totally, totally duped. I've been totally duped by the whole LinkedIn crap. I've been convinced. I bought into the whole thing. And I'm pissed. I'm pissed because they got me. I'm not pissed anymore. I'm just going to be busy. Don't get mad, get busy. And I'll tell you this, LinkedIn, if you happen to come across this video, I'm going to do everything in my power for the rest of my days to make sure that nobody uses your service, that they actively campaign, in addition to me, to get off of your shitty service that you use to lie to us and tell us that you will have our best interests at heart, because you don't. You are selling us to the highest bidder. You don't give us access to our own data, and you're filling our day full of absolute crap and wasting our time when you could be actually helping us us by sending us the messages from our network directly. Instead, you're playing the Facebook game. We see you, we're calling you out, and we are done with you. All right, I got to go back to the comments here. All right. I don't know. Let me see. I have to go all the way back, so I'm going to use this web interface. I'm surprised it took you this long. I know. Me too. But you know what? I'm a sucker, man. I'm obviously a sucker. So we need open source alternatives. I agree. And I think I want to help with that, whatever that looks like. I think creating a career manager, an open source career manager of some kind, and allowing it to have shareability is one way to do that. And I don't know if mine's going to be the best. There's other solutions out there, but yeah, we need to like pull together our resources and work on this, because we need to take it back. Because the reason we get in this mess is because we're lazy. Oh, I just want to join this service and have it do all the work for me. Well, that's not how it works. And there's a lot of money behind it too. So once again, the capitalists are controlling it all. And when I attack capitalism, they think, oh, I'm not a capitalist. No, the crony capitalists have decided this is what you are going to use. Therefore, this is your only choice, and you will use it, and you will be happy. Well, you know what? You don't have to take that. We need open source. Yeah, same generation. You know, the MTV makes me want to smoke crack. LinkedIn gave me the same feeling. Yeah. Again, I don't know what that is. Google is pretty bad too, with applications holding on permissions for longer than 90 days. I don't use Google. I'm off of Google completely. I have to be on YouTube. I actually am not opposed to YouTube advertising, nor the YouTube service. They have their own problems, but it's more of a thing. What do you get in a premium? Nothing. Premium just gets you show who's looking at you. That's it. You really don't get anything besides that. It's you don't get anything. It's supposed to get you more access to people. More people are seeing you and stuff. It's total crap. It's total crap. Let's see here. Let me see if I can figure out who's next. Wait, why is oh, whoops. There we go. I got two screens going on. Thank God you never used it. Thank God too. I mean, I feel really bad because this is why I had to make a video, because I have been buying into the Kool-Aid or drink. I mixed my metaphors there, but I've been doing the whole thing, and I'm really discombobulated right now. And so then I had everybody do it, and now I feel really bad because it makes me question my whole reality. Like, what other things have I been wrong about, right? But this is why people do your own thinking. Don't ever listen to anyone. Don't adopt me or anyone else as your guru. Do your own critical thinking, make your own decisions, and have the courage to stand up for what you've concluded. Based on all the facts and objective evidence, I don't think this is a good thing, because it took people who did that with me to save me at every level, to help me out of the Mormon church, to help me out of LinkedIn, to help me out of, using Google all the time. So just be your own person, come out of Plato's cave, and learn how to do your own, examination of the world. It's great for comedy, though. A fan which ramps up for opening a webpage. Yeah, I know. Worst UI ever. Oh my God, yes. Hey, but link is that you deactivate it, suddenly you lose all your recommendations. Exactly. Which made me just delete my whole profile altogether. Right. That's so sad, Tintin. But yeah, we're done with it. We're going to figure this out. And we're going to help each other out, and we're going to figure it out, because word of mouth is always better. And organizing communities that help one another, and Discord, and all these many, many different ways that we can connect now are way better than LinkedIn. And by the way, there's been a few people who have gotten jobs not because of this community, but indirectly through people that they've met in the community. And some of them have reported on their jobs that they found. And I'm not saying I'm better than LinkedIn. That's not what this is about. What this is about is that the best way for you to get a job is to make a trusting connection with somebody, to make a friendship, and then to learn about opportunities that those people know about. That's always going to be the best way to do this. And LinkedIn doesn't have to be involved. It never did. LinkedIn is a bunch of shallow assholes telling you not to follow your passion and then showing you yaks. Okay, so you know those demotivators, like the motivational posters. That's what LinkedIn is. A solid stream of really shitty motivational posters. Better link with Indeed. I was going to say, doing their assessments. Yeah, I do. I think Indeed is a lot better too. So far, I've had a lot of well, mostly I've only used Indeed not to really look. I've just watched the job postings that come up on Indeed. And I have another person that I know who's been working with Indeed, screen scraping and stuff like that too. So in terms of posting opportunities and learning about them, which I still stand by. But the ironic thing is those job postings are not posted to LinkedIn. Some of them are, but they're not even well posted. In fact, if I'm honest, the stuff that gets posted, I was in recently, the stuff that gets posted to LinkedIn sucks. It's like, it's got the worst description of the job ever. The stuff that's been posted on Indeed and so far that I can remember, it tends to be, more useful information. But even better is the stuff that comes straight from the company. If you know the companies that you want, identify 10 companies that you want to work for, large scale and small scale, you can reach out to them about their company. You might even be able to call them, for God's sake, which I did. Say, hey, what are the skills, blah, blah, blah. It's just, yeah. Here's a thought. Distributed social media are possible if all users have a piece of their part of the network. Yeah, like torrents. I think it's coming. I don't even think it has to be blockchain based. I think decentralization is going to be a thing. And I've got some thoughts on it already that I've talked about with, the knowledge net, MemWorks, all that, and the career manager, all that stuff. This is all stuff that I've already started, dabbling with. There's a lot of stuff on my plate, and, our community is really rallying around some of the things that you guys have mentioned and I've brought up. So why not? Why not take it on and do it? What else? Blockchain, yeah. Necessary and encrypted, right? It can. You don't have to have blockchain to be decentralized. I think that's the biggest thing. People hear decentralized and they associate blockchain with it right now. But it makes it easier for companies to search for you, don't it? People keep saying, no. It makes it easier for the companies that pay the right amount of money. But here's the difference. Do you want to be sold off to the company that pays the most money to see your stuff above other people on LinkedIn? Or do you want to take control of how the companies see you and maybe go after them? There's this, Malcolm, I'm not trying to pick on you. There is this idea, which I think is a straight up myth, that you're not going to be seen unless you're on LinkedIn. And I think it's a myth. You're not going to be seen unless you put yourself out there in ways. I think it's more important for you to have a personal profile page online and a GitHub account that's got content if you're a coder. Yeah, I think a profile page is even more important if you don't have a lot of development work. So you need to have like a CV or something. But I can think of five. I'm thinking of successful academics and programmers right now, and they don't have it. They don't even have that. They have personal connections with people who employ others. So if you're having trouble reaching out to companies or reaching out to people who how many times have you heard about people getting the best possible job through a personal contact they have with somebody else? 9 out of 10 times, that's how real good employment happens. I'm not saying there hasn't been any good jobs happen from LinkedIn, but I just think that the myth that they would love you to believe is that they are the only source for really great jobs, when in fact it's probably the opposite. They're probably maybe 10% of the best possible opportunities that you could find for yourself. But they want to scare the crap out of you and make you think that you have to do that. An internet profile is just a one-page web page. You can do it for free on Netlify. Actually, I'm going about making mine right now, but that's all it is. In fact, now with GitHub, it's even better. With GitHub, you can actually spice up your README a little bit. So if you don't want to do a lot of extra effort on a website, you can actually just send people to your GitHub page. And GitHub's got its own issues, but it's a different service, right? And they're not. And by the way, people, I know for a fact, because I talked to a senior executive who does this. She revealed that they actually regularly mine the GitHub data for developers. So if you want a LinkedIn with legs, make sure you maintain your GitHub account, because people are searching through who are committing. They're searching for coding style. There apparently are stealthy companies. This one person reported to me, and I can't give all the details, that they are a subscriber to a stealthy organization that mines GitHub data for the best developers and sends them a list that they pay premium money for, so that they can reach out to those developers directly. So if you're afraid of not being seen, the place to be is GitHub, because that's the place where developers are really, and that's not just, I've had two or three actually two parents, one of them in 2014, and which is really funny because we were telling everybody about getting on GitHub, and in the middle of it, he was there and he said, we hire off GitHub. And he said it just like that. I said, I know. So the most important place for you to put your profile if you're a developer is GitHub, hands down. Whether or not you contribute to open source, you need to have a profile over there, I believe. And based on all the information I have today, which might change tomorrow, so make your own decisions. And then another idea is, particularly if you're a web developer, is to just make yourself a one-page sort of profile page on the internet. And I told you the one guy that I helped get that $100,000 starting job, he had a really amazing profile page, and I believe it contributed to him being hired because it was sharp. It was sharp. It had a summary of his work, his little personal projects. It was kind of a vanity page, but it was way, way, way better than anything you would have ever seen on LinkedIn. And he had total control of it. So I'm going to be making mine and cleaning it up and everything as well. But I think that's all part of another video series, which I've already started, which is I call it over engineering my resume and protobuf. Which all of the effort started from just the desire to get my stuff off LinkedIn and make my own profile, which I now have sort of fast tracked because I have to do that because I'm deleting my LinkedIn account by the end of this week. Come hell or high water, I am deleting it. And that means I got to get my stuff off there no matter what. And I don't know what it's going to look like, where it's going to land or anything like that. So what else we got? The point of the profile is to have all your data on a central server, divided, and many hard drives. That's decentralized. Yeah, you can empower the users. They can't pressure you or censor you. Yeah, if you're imagine if LinkedIn went down right now. Yeah, decentralization, networks. Yep, private companies wanting to centralize it for their benefit. Right. We need to stop empowering centralized services as a platform. And I know that sounds kind of like a draconian dictatorial kind of idea. Obviously, they do provide. So YouTube is a good example of a service that provides a lot of benefit that's very centralized. It's almost like a television channel, right, or a network of televisions. We need services. I'm not saying we don't need that. We need Proton Mail and things like that. We just need services that are not hell bent on selling you to another company, as opposed to catering to you as a customer. You are the customer. You're the one who's benefiting, and that's a good relationship. That is not the relationship with LinkedIn. LinkedIn does not care about you. They care about selling you. And same with Facebook and same with Google. They want to sell your attention to others, and watch The Social Dilemma about that. We need to be done with that. And that means stepping up and going with services you might need to pay for, which I do with Proton Mail. The thing I hate most about LinkedIn is when you say that you know somebody, you suddenly get bombarded with their activity and who they're socializing with, and I thought it was really annoying. Completely agree. Why am I leaving LinkedIn? Not because of some dumb survey, surely. I at the beginning of the thing, I talked all about why I'm leaving LinkedIn. Do you have any idea how much data people would need to have cloned on their systems to have redundancy like that? Yeah, that's a lot. We're not having that kind of... Look, there's lots of decentralized ways to do this. I think the first decentralized way is to control your own profile. Is that asking so? That was probably the single biggest annoyance, technical annoyance I had with LinkedIn. I couldn't even get my own data off of LinkedIn. They have a beautiful, wonderfully executed API. Their tech team is amazing. Other than their web team, you guys suck. But the front end team, but their back end API team is amazing. You just can't get to any of it because you're not a partner. It's just the stupidest thing ever. Even if you pay them, you can't get to the data. And now they're trying to live stream, and they're only allowing certain influencers to live stream. I'm telling you, they want to lock you into their narrative of what you should see because they don't care about helping you. They care about selling attention, your most important attention, by the way, because it's related to your job, and they're trying to sell all of that to the highest bidder, and they're peddling you to everybody that they can convince that they can give premium access to you. And that is not in your best interest. It is not. It is not in your best interest to have them dictate what job opportunities you're going to see. They make the decision, not you, at the end of the day. And I think it's terrifying now. The more I think about it, I can't believe I ever bought into it. Okay. Once upon a time, he updated his LinkedIn. Yeah, people just don't care. Do the Twitch users see the chat from YouTube on Twitch? Yes. LinkedIn blocked in Russia. Really? The Serbic, I had no idea. Wish they were concerned about privacy. They're not. I think this is a case of Dunning-Kruger. For me, do you think that I know more than I don't know? You got to back that up a bit. I'm happy to hear contrary opinions. If you think I had Dunning-Kruger, that might be true. Yeah, I might have thought that I might have not known that. Dunning-Kruger effect is when you don't know that you don't know. And I believe I believe I had that with LinkedIn. But I also believe that I was a victim, and that makes it easier for me to accept it because I don't want to believe that I was that stupid. So it's probably a defense mechanism on my part. But I do believe that I was a victim of a cultural invasive attack, which is what LinkedIn does regularly to us. It comes into our world and says, we're on your side. We're here to make you help get a job. They lie to you like crazy, and they pretend to be one of you. Oh, we're going to Lindicom. We're going to help you learn. We really want you to get a job. They really don't care. Look at where they're getting their money from. Most of their money is not coming from them trying to help you. It's coming from them selling you to somebody else. So anyway, KGB is upset they can't get the data either. Serbic runs behind a few decades. Oh no, he doesn't. He's there right now, and he's in Russia right now. So he's said that before openly. I'm not doxing him on that, and it's absolutely true. They're still very much in power. I just love whenever I click on it, it freezes like zapping into Rant TV. I put it in the title, and I'm gonna close this particular stream eventually here, and then I'm gonna move on and calm down. I just had to get it off my chest because I also had to openly commit to doing it, and I had to right a lot of wrongs that I'd done by the hundreds of people that I've suggested get on LinkedIn, and now I feel like all the people that I taught about the Mormon Church and how bad that is. I have this. It's tough to be wrong, man, but at least I'm open about it. So I feel like I was really wrong, and this is why Leah Remini does an entire series on Scientology, because she spent all that time trying to get people into it, and now it's like an ongoing source of sensitivity for her because all those people's lives, someone have been destroyed indirectly because of her, and I feel like maybe I've hurt people by telling them to get off LinkedIn. Bottom line, it's your responsibility, but I feel a responsibility to at least tell you that I don't believe that anymore, and I'm moving on. All right, so rebranded not long ago after the KGB. Oh, really? Something's never changed. Occasionally, but it's always fun when he rants. Peter, yes. And LinkedIn for socialites. Where you go, be brag for doing some small stupid things. I feel like he's my grandpa. Like all charged up. I reiterate that I've had a lot of success with Indeed.com. All right. Cognitive dissonance, Indeed. Yes. The place is like home. Showing my age, but Dice has been 80% of my good handling consulting gigs. I've heard good things about Dice, but at this point, I am really leery. I'm just going to put it out there. I personally think before I ever consider one of those things, I want to make sure that I am not a product. I want to make sure that they truly have my best interest at heart. And frankly, I don't know if you need any of those things. You could just like research them and then go through them yourself. They want to pay you more, right? I've heard these things like TopTal are good. I've heard they're good too. I don't know, but they do come to you, right? They come to you because they see what you're doing when you're doing the coding, particularly for doing the coding. And I have no intention of becoming a dictator. I tell you, if I I'm scared of, we following cult mentality. We were following that last night a little bit. And I actually personally am afraid of my own thoughts, because I've seen how duped humans can be, and how quickly they can become convinced that you should do what they say. And that if I have a fear at all, the fear is that I would become that person, because it's very insidious. It sneaks up on you. It's not like you start out saying, I'm going to be a dictator today. You start to reinforce your own narrative. You don't think critically about your own world. And pretty soon you start to think everybody should think like you for their best interest, because that will help save them. And so you say the dictator thing, and I'm sensitive to it, because any one of us is vulnerable. We're all vulnerable to it. And that's why dialogical action, as Paulo Freire says, is so important, because that means you're constantly checking yourself against your community members. You have a spouse who keeps you in line. You have people that you have friends, you have community members that will tell you you're full of shit sometimes. You have a community that's there to help you. One human alone can't do this. We're too easily manipulated by our own thoughts. So we need to have these checks. It's really about community. And then the problem is that sometimes you get communities that are around a cult mentality, and they're all self-reinforcing. So it's a real dilemma. So I know this wasn't about that. And as I've said again, make your own decision about LinkedIn. For some of you, it may have been a wonderful, amazing thing. If it is, great. Promote it and everything. But I'm telling you my reasons about why I can't stand it anymore, and I'm leaving it. And you can make your own decisions. All right, so we go. What do we got? But LinkedIn has all the pop-ups you ever wanted. Cerbic, you're so funny. Cerbic is... I miss you. I miss Julia Cerbic. The most over-engineered game ever is going ham on LinkedIn. I don't even know what that is. Shooting people for applying to jobs goes a bit far. Did I say shoot? I did. I was kind of ramped up. I don't mean that. Please know that. Rob is like me. He loves to rant properly and get it out of his system. Nobody will listen to you because you overcomplicate things and somehow make fun programming concepts extremely dry and boring. Probably true, Clay. Good point. Best you move on now. Oh, that's so funny. As a newly graduate, as a newly graduate without a real network within my industry, I can't really see around LinkedIn. I won't leave it. Yeah. And that's because they got full hold on you, because they've convinced you that you can't get a job without LinkedIn, and you'll take any possible. And you know what? I used to say that too. I used to say that to people. I was like, you know what? You want to improve your odds. You want to have as many possible opportunities to get a job that you can. You want to increase so that means you want to get yourself on every single platform that's out there. And at the same time, I used to always say, and still do, that you need to be able to approach, companies directly. You need to be able to go to those companies and say, this is the reason I want to work for you. So I really believe that it needs to be a more proactive process, but putting yourself out there doesn't hurt. But I think if you were to take that energy from putting yourself out there and you were to do a more concerted, focused effort for finding a particular place, it would be better. That's just my opinion. I bet that Rob hates people being passive aggressive. I'm okay with people being passive aggressive. If that's your choice in life, fine. I don't have to like you or agree with you. A particular set of skills, LinkedIn. You might want to read a piece called Bullshit Jobs by David, or the book derived from his compilation from the anecdotes of people saying, if you want to get why LinkedIn pod people are LinkedIn pod people. See, now there's a comment I love. Hey, Clay, why don't you read what Moshi just said right there? By the way, it's probably orders of magnitude more intelligent than you after reading your posts. This is how you participate in a community productively. This is a fantastic offer. Bullshit Jobs by David Graeber. So this is great. Thank you so much. I'm writing it down. Moshi, this is why I live stream. I'm very selfish in my live streams. you think it's about, I think I'm trying to, I've told people straight up, the reason I live stream is because of all the great things you guys and people tell me. So I'm going to go read that right now because I want to be able to help people. And if I can get a better handle on how to get more information to people so they can make their own better decisions, so be it. Because that's what I'm about. And if you don't like that style, fine. I'm not saying I'm better than LinkedIn, not saying it. I'm not saying I am better than LinkedIn, not saying it. I don't know what that means. I'm a capitalist and a mild green socialist. It does mix, Peter? Okay, good. What other platforms could you use? I don't know. Go find out. LinkedIn looked like my Twitter feed is filled with a lot of JavaScript toxic motivation people. Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what the toxic motivational people was the one. That's why I got out of it. Hi, Master. Motivational posts always demotivate me. What is the internet profile? What do you mean? I talked about that. I have a website here waiting for me to get my portfolio updated. Yes. I don't mind being sold by a company when they do every time they wrap me in bubble wrap. So cozy. They probably, well, okay, so let's talk about that dope to me. So, you know, the whole concept of recruiter is somewhat, you know, red flags with prototype mail. Privacy watchdog for red flags. Oh, are you talking about the JavaScript interface? Well, Peter, we'll have to talk another later. So the thing about so the comment that dope to me makes reminds me of my general feeling about recruiters. I still stand by having a good recruiter working for you all the time on your career, because you're going to be so focused on your career that you're not going to have a lot of time to be like pounding the pavement, go out there and looking for these opportunities. But if you find a recruiter, just like an agent, right, in Hollywood or in sports, who you really, really trust, who has your back, there was one I had, you talk about being wrapped in bubble wrap, man. The recruiter that I had who got me my IBM job out of Nike and who got me double my salary. And you know what he did? He would call me at regular intervals while I was still happily employed to say, hey, you like it? Because I got another job over here at IBM actually that's paying more and blah, blah, blah. And I got this over here. And this. He was always, and that was his job. I get that was his job, but I also had a trusting relationship with him. And so I'm not against recruiters because I think you can achieve the same, you know, cozy feeling that someone's got your back and that they're going to make money by having your back. And that is what is amazing about a good recruiter. Recruiters who go through LinkedIn are paying LinkedIn for access to you. You may or may not get a good relationship with them. The relationships with recruiters I've had online on LinkedIn that are good are because I already had a relationship with that recruiter who in one case reached out to one of my best managers ever at Teleport, who then redirected to me and said, you need to talk to this recruiter so you can get this Nike job. And to this day, you know, he and I, Rob Kemp, have, you know, a great relationship. I don't, you know, no, I don't send him birthday cards or anything, but, you know, so that's the point. The point is that the recruiter relationship, I think that's a part of it still. It could be wrong, but so far, some of the best jobs I've had have been through recruiters that had indirectly been referred to me by personal friends who then talked with them, and because they trust. So it's all about trust. Once again, it's all about trust. In Denmark, $600 only gets you 51 large Big Mac meals. Oh gosh, I don't even know what to say to that, Mac. You should start a lobby to get pork loins at Big Mac in McDonald's. If it's a dentist a month, fill the cavity for $30. Wow, I probably need that. Restaurant super cheap, yes. Great to hear you rant about this. I've considered leaving if I'm new there. So what is the alternative to these portals? I feel like there is not any around. I'm going to tell you the alternative. The alternative to look, first of all, I'm not putting all the portals together here. There are probably some portals who sell you who have more of a commitment to you than others. And I haven't looked at any of the other ones right now. But I absolutely know that LinkedIn is not into you. They're not. And at least for myself, I believe that. And as I've said before, I believe this gets into the whole Good to Gig. I have a series of videos I'm going to do on Good to Gig, and this is now going to be a part of it. And as with any of my series, they're just me putting my my position and my experience out there, and you're making your own decisions. That's how it should always be. You shouldn't have people just telling you this is why it is, and you should do it this way. So you should make your own decision. I keep having to say that, but part of that Good to Gig series says, first of all, know what you want to do, represent yourself, identify companies, know yourself. You have to know yourself and your own skill set, what you want to do every day. Then reach out to the companies, research the companies, and find those companies that meet the needs of those things, identify the careers they have, and reach out to them. And even if you don't end up getting a job with them, you can ask them. That's how I got my best job at the internet. I called as internet service provider and said, I can't work for you right now. I know that, but they patched me through the engineering team and said, what is the single thing that I could learn that would make me indispensable to you someday? They said, learn Perl. And this was 97, or 6 actually. And I said, fine. So I learned Perl in 21 days, did the book and everything with my little simple text on the Mac. And sure enough, it got me a job. It got me a job that paid, double what I was earning before that. And it was because I reached out to the company that I got that first job. And I had been on unemployment before then for about 3 months, because I switched careers from being a Russian cruise director to being, an internet developer in 96, when companies like WordPerfect told me we don't want anything to do with the internet. It's just educators and military. So I had to move to another state, Portland, Oregon, which actually got it. And that's where I was able to get the job. The point I'm trying to say here is the alternative is your active, reaching out to go do those things. And if you don't have time to do it because you have to pay the bills, then it's you personally reaching out to a recruiter that you select, not talking to the recruiter who's the loudest and the most likely to contact you. You make the proactive steps to find a recruiter. And how do you do that? You ask your friends who are professionals. You look for mentors and say, do you have a recruiter that you use that you trust? You do those things, and those things will always be better than some random connection through LinkedIn. So I really believe that. Yeah, well, Mac is an independent person and he loves LinkedIn. So he gets lots of jobs for that. And you'd be one of our examples of the contrary. What we should probably consider in all of this is work for people who work on contract, who are freelancers. And Mac is one of those. So Mac, you should make a video or do a blog about why you think LinkedIn is good for your type of work. But I don't think it is anymore. And I would never use it. But the people who have said that they actually like LinkedIn are usually like Mac in terms of freelancers. They live gig to gig. They live contract to contract. And if there's something I'm missing in LinkedIn along those lines, then that might be the way to go about it. Looking for seniors and regular programmers, but not juniors. If you're looking to get the best way to break in, if you're young, first of all, is to, do a lot of extra work to show that you can do. You got to have you have to be able to build trust, which means you have to have a good body of work. And the guy that I helped get that $100,000 job, that's what he had. He also had a college degree, which they keep saying is still required. I wish that weren't true. I still question that. And he was in an internship for 3-4 months before they offered him the full-time job. And if you're a junior, that's generally the way that they're going to go about it. They're going to hire you on an internship basis, and then they're going to bring you in. And I don't like it that that's the way it's done. I just keep reading that that's how people are doing it. So, all right. So I looked for a feed on LinkedIn and got to say it's cringe, filled with bullcrap, corporate stuff. I agree, legal. I'm with you on that. What mail would you recommend? I think I'm hosting my own thing, but later. Yeah, I hosted my own for a long time. I haven't seen any red flags with Proton Mail. I am not prepared to. I actually am a Proton Mail visionary, and so far I have no red flags with them. There are a few. I have had problems on GitLab a couple times on Netlify because hackers use Proton Mail because it's anonymous sometimes, and so they get blacklisted. But I have nothing negative to say about Proton Mail at this moment. Some of you out there who don't like Proton Mail, I'd really appreciate it if you could send me direct links in Discord or an email at rob@rwx.gg and tell me exactly why you think Proton Mail has red flags, and I'd be happy to research those for myself. I'm interested. Can we rant about Netflix? not only have they convinced users, they've convinced the HR people as well, right? Isn't that crazy? Both would have to ditch LinkedIn, and the HR people wouldn't be able to check metrics, reach milestones, or whatever corporate horseshit they juggle to make themselves look useful. Yeah. Wow, I really want to read that book, Moshi Moshi. Thank you for sending that. I feel like whatever tech or service I use, there will be some there'll be some ethical issues. There always is going to be. The real question is what is your tolerance for it, right? There's people who can work for absolutely evil companies and say that the technology is compelling. And that's the guy with the wire and the lightning in Hunger Games. I love him. You know, that military and the engineering district, it's like full of techies, you know, that's been making the Capitol run. They just look the other way because the technology is compelling, you know. And then they have kind of a wake up call. Yeah. Well, there's one thing you can do. The one thing we can all do is we don't have to play by the system. We don't. We can actually take back the stuff. It's going to take sacrifice. There's just no way around it. And we also have to organize. They'll just pick us off one at a time. You don't play by our rules, we're not going to reward you, right? So yeah. How's it going, Usurper? May I ask what happened? No. You can rewatch the video. I'm going to post it in a bit here. I can't look at my LinkedIn feed, me either. I don't have LinkedIn. What happened? Fake garbage. Yes, completely true. Don't forget about, oh my God, the hashtags. I have left LinkedIn when Microsoft bought it. Oh, I didn't even know Microsoft bought it. Or did I? I might have known that, but I don't think I remembered it. The projects are horrible. Skeptical about my own and GitHub so far. Yeah, dude, believe me, I have been. How long have I been skeptical on the Microsoft thing? But you saw my GitHub versus GitLab evaluation. I don't know. It's a different thing though, right? So, rarely LinkedIn expands your network and chances new jobs. However, LinkedIn is excellent for getting jobs through your existing network of people you know personally. I see, but the problem is that I don't, this is, you know, Mac, you hit on a good point. The worst part about giving up LinkedIn is giving up my connections to my old job contacts. It's the absolute worst part. And I feel like LinkedIn is holding it ransom because there's nothing else, right? I'm going to put a message on LinkedIn saying, hey, I'm not going to be here anymore. Reach out to me in email. The thing that I don't like is that I didn't establish that network in a different way. If I had been more diligent, I would have had, you know, a network of emails, and I would have regularly communicated with these people. And of course, that's the whole point of social networking, right? Is to be able to do all that stuff. And so LinkedIn makes itself really indispensable in that space. But then they also just take advantage of it in a way that makes you like tied to them. You can't let it go. They have you hooked because all of your professional contacts. There's people in my LinkedIn that I don't have any other contact with. And I don't have their email because they wouldn't dare give you the email. You know why? You know why they won't give you the email from people? It's not privacy. It's not privacy. It's because they want to make sure that you don't extend your network outside of their boundaries, because then they would be not necessary. And they're doing everything for their best interest, which means making sure you can't contact these people unless you use their service, which is bad. It's like really bad. And we just have to stop. We have to stop buying into the shit. So I'm going to lose. It's the same thing with Facebook. Oh, you want to get off Facebook, huh? So all your family connections and everything else are all going to go away because everyone's on Facebook. Sucks to be you. You're going to lose contact with all your family. Are you ready to do that? And I did. And I lost contact with lots and lots of people that I really care about. But it wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. I wish that there was an alternative. I don't know what the alternative is going to look like even. You want to get really deep and philosophical about it. We're back to something I said a couple of weeks about LinkedIn and audience drug pushers being a collection of simulacra, right? 17 Gen Xerox people Xeroxing themselves further to fit in. Yeah. You try to fit by copying some behavior, get it slightly wrong, but now it's the new standard and it gets copied slightly wrong and so on. Yeah. Is that in simulacra? I really, really need to read that. I need to read that. You said the whole thing that was the basis of the Matrix, right? And the author of Simulacra got really, really, really mad at the Wachowski brothers at the time. Did you see that? Yeah, I saw that. I read it. I saw that in making of the Matrix. Uh, Moshi, you my kind of people, man. Congratulations, you received 100 messages today from Restream. Another service that's great, but I want to get off of it because I don't like. There's one problem now. It's really hard to get the first job in most companies looking for seniors. That is a problem. It's a problem everywhere. What about having 36-year-olds? How companies reject me because of my age without college? I don't know, man. That's a different problem though, and I don't think LinkedIn is gonna. I don't think LinkedIn is the answer. They prey on, LinkedIn preys on this FUD that you can't get a job. The issues that are stopping you from getting a job are not related to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not the panacea that's going to come in and help you make that connection that's going to get you a job. It's not. You're going to have to take control, and there are social issues at stake here and stuff like that that has to be taken in. LinkedIn is not a part of that. And I really maintain that LinkedIn is not a part of that. They peddle themselves as being the critical piece in all of that, but they're not. I think the answer, as I've said over and over again, is for you to take control and to reach out to the companies. I'm not saying it's easy, and believe me, I'm right there with you right now. Because even though I have lots of experience, I've told you over and over. I've told you my sad story about having to have insurance, and that they've destroyed my small business because I have to pay an extra $1,200 a month if I want to have insurance on the open market versus getting it's not just insurance. It would their access to the people in a corporate environment sometimes is nice if it's the right company. So I'm out there searching too, and believe me, I have all the same fears as you. You're like, I'm afraid because I'm too young and I don't have experience. Well, I'm afraid of ageism, and I'm afraid of people predetermining what I can do and what I can't do because of my age or what I look like. We all have fears about getting jobs. We all have them. We have the praise on our worst insecurities. And a company that takes that fear and monopolizes it and monetizes it can get the fuck out, because I don't want any of that. I don't want somebody to, fan the flames of my own insecurity. I want a company that's going to help me, and they don't. They sell me out. People right, Peter? That was how you got your first job. Different company. Yeah. It's normal that, let's see. Is it normal that a local expat new grad needs to study and learn hard at the local people career? Because sometimes I am burned out to study more than others in the field of natural language processing. Yeah. Quantum computing just to get the job in a country that didn't invest much in R&D. Moreover, the work visa is a huge struggle for me and cut me out of the interviewing process. I don't know, man. That is a really amazing, you know what? So even if I can't get to all of these concerns, I want you to know very sincerely that, I did a lot of things to try to help people through this hard part of their lives. And I'm sincere. If there's one thing, I'm sincere. I may be sincerely wrong a lot of times. We do have a Discord. There's a lot of people in the Science and Tech channel who are employed currently with different companies. They have different opinions than me about technology and stuff like that. So Sam, you have access to people to ask these questions of, and you have Discords in several channels. You could go on the Odin Project. You've heard me rant about Free Code Camp, but one of the things that they do have is they have a really great community you can reach out to. That's primarily based on helping people get their first job. There are lots and lots of communities of people that are in your same position. Find one or more of those communities and hook up with them, including ours, not just mine. And we'll help each other out. We can get through this. It really is about community. It's not about some, corporate savior that's going to come help you find the job of your dreams. It's about you making a personal connection in one or more communities, and then having humans help each other out. That's always how it's been. And even though people would have you believe otherwise, I was a psychologist, but had to change careers. Yeah. And that's one of those things, right? And I don't know if we're saying, but it was somebody who had a psychology degree who changed careers with me and is now working as a junior engineer for $100,000 a year. That's a true story. I love saying that story because it's just so, it's just so iconic to me that of how somebody can really change their own stars when, first of all, they dare to do that and they dare to follow their passion, and that means, it may be what they do for their job or maybe not. That was really the straw that hit the. When I told you this morning, when I started this stream, when I opened up that thing and I saw one of these bullshit motivational speakers saying the worst lie anybody has ever been told is to follow their passion, I was done. I was like, I actually wrote a comment. I said, this is absolute bullshit. How would you ever dare say this thing? He was trying to say you have to work into this. He was trying to be contrarian to sell more books or whatever the fuck. And I was like, I'm out of here. I am so out of here. I don't want anything to do with this community because it just makes me angry. And it's totally toxic, and it doesn't have your best interests at heart. I need to work on a good portfolio, but it's really hard to stay motivated when there's no income. I don't know what to tell you, man. Take a service job, do whatever it takes, and then work up. It can be done. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. That's part of the lie. Part of the lie is, oh, hey, if you don't leave, you'll have a job. Pay us your extra money and you'll have a job. You know what is another lie? Pay us $8,000 for this boot camp certificate. I actually talked to a guy at a pub. God, it's just heartbreaking. The guy didn't have the money. He went to a boot camp, one of these Rails boot camps in 2017, and he was out $9,000 with still no job, and he was in the pub. He was frustrated. He didn't have a job. He had done everything he tried to do. He worked hard during and he didn't have anything. And I believe it's because they kept trying to sell you a load of crap. They're like, you know what? If you do this, you'll get it. This is why when I try to mentor people, I'm like, look, I am not your boss. I am not your savior. I am not here to get you what you need. I am here to help you find out what to do for you. And that's a totally different deal. And I don't think any of these organizations should be paid a dime until they place somebody that claim to be placement boot camps and that kind of thing. If anybody does it, it's really controversial, but there's some schools out there that don't get paid unless you get a job. And if you're going to do that, I think those are closer to the thing to do. But I have seen people do this themselves. But yeah, it's hard. It's going to take you thousands of hours of investment in coding. You can't just code an hour a week or even 4 hours a week with me and think you're going to be able to do this. We're talking about 3,000 to 4,000 or 5,000 hours of coding experience with demonstratable output before you're ever going to get a job. Because you have to show you have at least some level of mastery of the thing. There are some rare opportunities where people are like really smart and they get internships before they even have the skill and they just want smart people. But this idea that Code.org loved to peddle in 2013 and 2014 is that there's a drought for good IT people, and is kind of a lie. There's not a drought for junior engineers. There's a drought for people who can do the job. And it's always going to be more profitable to hire a 10X engineer to do the work of 6 or 7 people. So you need to become a specialist in something that you really enjoy that is also employable. And if that's not your passion, so be it. That's the closest thing I'll say to agreeing with the guy of don't chase your passion. Look, if you want to be a singer-songwriter, fine. You're going to have to make the sacrifices necessary to do that, which means you're not going to eat and live out of a van sometimes. I'm not saying don't follow your passion, but you better be damn sure you're okay with what that means if you follow your passion. If you, you know what I mean? If you have to know what it's going to take, because you can follow your dreams, you can follow your passion, but you better be damn sure you're ready to make the sacrifices to do that. And that's the hard part. So I'm not saying don't follow it. I'm just saying, and I know this personally because my wife is following her passion as an artist finally, thank God. And it's hard. And it's taken a lot of sacrifice because it doesn't pay initially. It's a thing that has to be, but it's really important work that she's doing. So, but it's like one of these things where, you just have to be realist. And I agree with that sentiment. But I don't think you should not follow your passion. Getting your foot into doors will be huge. Yeah. What a college degree does, it gets your feet wet. I think unfortunately, a college degree is still sort of an entry thing, but not for everybody. What's really even worse is people come out of college with $200,000 worth of debt sometimes, and they can't get a job because they got a degree that doesn't employ them. Russian degree. I was there, man. 6 years of college. Thank God I had, less debt. And I worked 3 jobs during college, and I went to a Mormon school, so I didn't have to pay a lot of extra money because I was Mormon at the time. But I still came out of there. I was completely unemployed. I had a lot of amazing stories and adventures in Russia. But when my wife at the time says, I can't do this, I'm not working another day in here. The only time I ever got, not with her, but the only time I ever in my entire relationship with her that I ever got actually physically violent. I threw a book through the closet wall. I was so angry. It wasn't I was angry at her. I was angry at the reality that then faced me. I had just spent 6 years building up a career in Russia with contacts in Russia. I had more business contacts and everything. And I had an amazing career on the way. And she said, I can't go another day in Russia. If you do this, you're going to be on your own. True story. And I took the textbook because I was still in college that I had, and it just rose up in me, and I threw it through our apartment door, closet door. And I am not proud of that moment, but I had just realized that I had just married somebody who was not going to support my entire career path, and I should have divorced her right there. I eventually divorced her later. True story. Anyway, so I don't know what your life is going to look like. You got to figure that out for yourself. If you're really lucky, find a partner that'll keep you, that'll support you in your way, but be okay when things change. I'm sorry it took a turn. We were talking about colleges and getting out and getting on your own. And what I'm trying to tell you is that this is just my story. I'm a stories guy, right? And this is a story because seriously, in my whole career, in my whole marriage, that was the worst moment of my marriage, actually. And I wasn't angry at anybody, but I was angry because I had just spent all of this money, and now I was looking at unemployment because I couldn't do it in Russian. So I don't know what to say to that. I don't know the answer about what's the best degree and all this. I will say this: work while you're in college, if you can, because you'll make work contacts while you're there. Actually, while I was in college, it was actually the computer science stuff I was doing while I was there that got me the job. Thank God, because I'd been doing that all on the side while I was at college, and that's what got me my job, the job that really just skyrocketed in tech. And I tell people all the time, even if you don't like technology, if you can stomach it, it's better than waiting tables. Even a junior programming job, if you can get one, is going to be better than most service jobs. Although even those are still hard to get. Let's see. Do you know what Kodak quit use? No, I don't. Let's thanks on that input. So I think the best for me is to get a recruiter, as I am on the self-presenting. The other thing that's really great about having a recruiter is their job. Two things. They really know how to make you feel good about yourself. Their job is making you look good to everybody else. Sometimes they'll even meet with you before you go on your interviews. I had one guy who was really worried that, he could tell he'd worked with a lot of other people, and he wanted to see me before I went into the interview. In other words, make sure you're wearing the right clothes and stuff. That level of like babysitting, because those recruiters make money off of you. And so they're also financially incented to make you look really good. So they will say things, sometimes too much, but they will say things to their potential position. They can't go too far, because if they do, they get in trouble for lying and all that. But they're selling you. So they're constantly looking for your best traits. And that's really great for your ego when you're just starting out. When you're just starting out, they're there to help you see the good in you and to see the thing that's marketable in you when you might be full of imposter syndrome and you don't see anything good in yourself. They'll help you see those things, and they can guide you, because particularly if you stay with them, because they stand to make money from you, and the better recruiters actually care about you in addition to making money from you, just like a good agent would in Hollywood or something. So I'm not throwing recruiters down the tubes here with LinkedIn. I think a good recruiter is a good idea. But the finding one is hard. It's a little bit hard to, cold call tech systems and say, I need a recruiter, right? This is what I really suggest you to ask around. Ask professionals in your industry that and say, hey, do you have a recruiter that you really like that you use, that knows me or something? Yeah. If you do a little bit of networking like that, you'll find somebody. I really believe that. At least you will in America. I don't know how this works in other places in the world, but around here, that's how it works. The trick is reading the requirements as a nice to have. Yeah, that's true too, Acerbic. Yeah. That is a real important point. Acerbic makes a really strong point there. The requirements are always, they never can fulfill all of them, right? So, yeah. Companies buff their hiring requirements so they can have a legal clean way to turn down people they don't want to hire. Right. How's it going, Peter? LinkedIn use Ember on their front end and maintain the framework. Really? I didn't know that. That's interesting. That makes a lot of sense, actually. It's hard when I was one of when the other one helping the full stack course I did, and now they have jobs, but I don't. It's hard for me too. Yeah, I've got people. I've got junior engineers that I've helped have $100,000 jobs, and some of them are in some of the very prestigious engineering schools now. And here I am out pounding the pavement myself because I've also got to get the insurance thing going on. They look at me and say, well, this is another thing too. There's this total lie that if you make a lot of money, that you're actually good and smarter. It's part of the capitalist lie that everybody wants you to think. Yeah, I've had people tell me my $250,000 job says Java is the best language on the planet. I'm like, really? Are you serious about that? Why not ask for their email? Right. I'm going to do that. I'm going to ask for their email. I don't want. I think LinkedIn is going down. I really do. But I want to reach out to them. PM me a link to the free essay. Oh, thank you very much, Moshi. Real requirements does. Again, you have to reach out to them. Hi, Daniel. The only advice which I can give, if you don't believe in yourself, then others won't either. That's damn true. If the best way for you to start believing in yourself is to do projects that make you feel good, because the creative process, the coding process, we have, like building a Raspberry Pi Kubernetes cluster. You did all that, right? Be careful, by the way, of certificates, because sometimes certificates, particularly the free code camp certificates, fill you with Dunning-Kruger. You get a certificate and you think you know this stuff, but you don't have anything to show for it except for the certificate. And then when somebody asks you to make a web page, you can't do it, and you get ripped down, and then you're even more full of imposter syndrome than you would have been before. So if you want to pump up your ego, make shit, do stuff, and then that will actually build into you where things can get better, and your confidence will go up. And I've felt that myself. I've seen that happen in other people. I really believe that. An alternative is to start out with a good project, but end up shallow clone in the end. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, you're talking about anything that goes with LinkedIn? Probably true. Usually it's just one half of the whole list, the core technologies and libraries. This is true. Thank you for your input, everyone. Hi from Twitch. RKJ, good morning. Hi, Carlos. I ended up ordering a copy of Pedagogy of the Press after my rant. It's thick, man. I tell you what, because I read it so slowly, because I try to, he's very, what's the word? Is it loquacious? I think. It's dense. It's really dense. There's other books just about that book, to understand it. And I don't, of course I don't agree with all of it, but, there's some pretty inflammatory ideas that he has in there that I can't quite get behind. And then there's other stuff that just makes total sense to me. So it is worth reading though. But it's really, really hard read. Developer programmers is the same for artists. Build up a portfolio. Yeah. And by the way, if you're going into DevOps and stuff like that, you might have, like, if you're going to become an electrician, there's no option. You have to get certified. So I did a whole video on this. I don't know where to put it in my playlist, but it's called Why Certify, and it talks about the question of certification. And I'm actually kind of on the fence still on the Kubernetes application developer certification, because it's kind of on the fence between developer and engineer, and engineers can sometimes do that. Yeah, Mac, don't even talk to me about insurance, Mr. from Denmark, and we have good insurance. Good advice based on what you say. Focus on what you can control, not on what you can't control. Don't waste your energy. Completely agree. Hi, Dennis. That's right. Don't be a damn sellout. I really wish I could actually leave LinkedIn. A lot of people can't. Sadly, I'm forced to in my country to even get unemployment benefits. Seriously? Wow. Talk about a stranglehold on the industry, Hikari Knight. I mean, that means that there was some backroom deal with LinkedIn and the local government the amount of power that these social platforms have over they are such a part of the 1% controlling oppressors at this point. I'm using this kind of language because I've been reading Pedagogy of the Oppressed, so it's like fresh in my mind. I'm not particularly, go revolution right now, other than I've been reading it, so it's fresh on my mind. That if that's true, then God, I help people use as a psychologist, but it's hard when I have to support whatsoever. Yeah, and we're here for each other. I mean, honestly, I'm not. That's not just. Look, can I like go help you change a spare tire? Can I give you money to help you on your way? Probably not. But at least we have, unfortunately, some of the. I guess you could count Twitch as a social media platform, sort of. We have the internet. Let's put it that way. We can make contact where we couldn't make it before, in good ways and bad ways. I would not have guessed that about Norway, but has nice fjords. It should be illegal. It should. I kind of want to understand that, Hikari, a little bit more. If you wouldn't mind sending me some information, maybe offline or whatever. It sounds to me like you're saying that you can't get employment unless you have a LinkedIn account. If that's a true fact, and you have let's play on words, but if you have a direct link to that information, I would love to cite that. That is straight up unethical, if not illegal. I can't believe that they would ever have that level of dependency. Let's see, your suggestion helps me a lot. Thank you so much, joining Discord. Peter, I was Bergen and Oslo. It's beautiful. Yes. Ham theory. I was called insane and crazy when I changed degrees E to physics because people said E gives more money. Yeah, but I don't like it. It's what you're willing to sacrifice. It's not about not following your passion. It's like, are you willing to sacrifice in order to follow your passion? Because just by the luck of the draw, our economy, our world economy pays certain things more money than other things, including 6-year-olds unwrapping presents on YouTube and people who play. Don't get me started on that. It just blows me away what society values. It's like where all the money goes. I can't talk about it because it'll dovetail really fast into another thing. Lambda Bootcamp. That's the one I was going to mention. Is Lambda. Lambda is a pretty controversial bootcamp, but they don't get paid unless you're in there. They're really picky about who they accept, which I think they probably should be. Functional programming. Thank you for the help. I'm kind of down today, but all your input. Look, it's the beginning of the year, and maybe we're just about ready to go into a new year, and frankly, I'm just tired of being controlled. I'm tired of being owned by organizations that are, I'm totally willing and able to work in the system, but I just, I just can't buy into that. Yeah, Rob, I got sponsored to take. How many we got? I got sponsored to take a certificate in order to help me get a job. Right. That landed me the current job I already had. It was my on-the-fly problem-solving skills. Right. Hi, Gene David. It's the same amount of time as some games to take a master of the S. It's right. It's not a big job, but it's at least 30% position. Right. This is why we need you. Thanks, Karen. It's not just me, right? By the way, there are a lot of people who feel this way. I just happen to be coming clean on this moment. But there are a lot of people. There are people in science and tech. There are people on YouTube. There's a lot of other people have been saying this, and I just kind of late to the party. Financial sacrifice is really difficult unless you're well set. It's much easier if you can somehow get to a passive income on the side. It's true. Ta-da! It's really true. I hope your wife is not listening to this. Well, it's their turn. Yeah. The point, I think it's important to understand that. My wife has told me some stories about people who told her straight up, you either can have a family or you can be an artist. And she made a conscious decision. There's people who they make sacrifices. It's not that you can't follow your passion. You may have to sacrifice having a family to follow certain passions. And that doesn't mean you can't follow your passion. It just means you got to be ready for it. And for a lot of people, when they say, oh, no, you should never follow your passion, what they really mean is, oh, you would never want to give up this and that. And they're making that decision for you. And that's what really triggered me. That's your decision to make. But you can't have both, right? Sometimes you can't have both, right? I would love to be a river guide. Love to be a river guide. But I was raised Mormon and I wasn't allowed to do anything but get married and raise kids. That's, the divine imperative, which turned me, and I'm very, very, very grateful for the children that I had and those wonderful years that I have with my first wife. But the point is, we get told what we can sacrifice and what we can't sacrifice, and we get told that we are not the bosses of our own destinies, and that is a lie. That's a lie. I don't care who's telling you that. There's no God on planet Earth that anybody believes in is telling you to do that, to take away your free will. Bottom line. And that gets religious really fast, so I'm not going to talk anymore. When I was installed the LinkedIn app, it messaged me all the contacts I was looking for back in 2013. Never again. Thank you for showing us personal experience. It's stressful. Look, I know I went really personal on that experience, but I want you people I'm telling you that story because I get it. I get it. I've been there. I'm not saying that I understand your situation or that I ever could, but my situation, I was just as stressed as a lot of other people. It's hard. This stuff is hard, man. Life is hard. which is why we got to do this together. It's the only way. It's really the only way. And no one who's taking money from you or selling it to somebody else has really got your best interest at heart. And don't even think that I have your best interest at heart. I believe I do, but it's up to you. Be your own boss. All right, what are we doing? We're looking some more. And there's a lot of good chat. I should probably. I want to get to them all though. I don't want to let anybody's voice go unsaid here. This is valuable to me. Wonder if my recruiter lied about what I can do. Yeah, I do wonder sometimes about that too. But then it's them doing the lying, right? And they're the one to get in trouble, not you. I got an internship job while in school for $22 an hour. You're not the only one. So I had a decision to make. I could either pay $3,000, which I didn't have, to go on a study abroad and speak American with my American, people, or I could work harder and find a job working as an interpreter in Russia and come home with $3,200. Guess which one I did? That I'm sharing you some of my successes as well as my failures. And that was a major success on my part. It was freaking hard. I had to convince them that I was the best candidate. I had to deal with mafia. I got all those stories out of it. But I tell you what, I learned Russian better than any of those interns. Because why? Because I didn't play by the system. The system tells you have to pay your $6,000, go for a study abroad, have a great experience, and come back, and then you can register, blah, blah, blah. You know what really sucked? Those people who came, this is a true story. Those people who came back, who paid all that money to go on that study abroad, got credit hours for the university for that. And my Russian was 10 to 20 times better than theirs. I had work experience. I had amazing stories, and I had a company that was still employing me. Did I have the 5 credit hours from the internship abroad? No, but I had much better things, but the university decided it didn't want to credit those things. Didn't even give me an opportunity to provide any of it because it wasn't an approved internship because they weren't making money off of it as an organization. Crony capitalism, man, it's everywhere. It takes courage to anyway, I couldn't do it though. And I was saying, I need to go abroad to learn a language. I'm like, how am I going to do this? I don't have any money. I'm working 3 jobs. I can't do this. And thank God I found a company that took me on and they paid me. To this day, I'm grateful for that. And, I kind of slammed on that company a little bit the other day because, it's an American capitalist over there. But they really gave me a lot. They gave me a great opportunity by letting me do that. And there's companies out there. They're just harder to find. As a senior CNC programmer, recruiter, and recruiting firms love me and lying about my skills as well. I'm in Europe. Hey, Garen, by the way. Internships were part of my classes. We did tech projects for the instructors' buddies for free. Yeah. Well, one of the things I've been able to do is make friends with people in the industry. So Gabe, you guys know him. He hangs out here all the time, right? I had a solar energy engineering company call me and said, "You got anybody for us?" And I said, "Well, let me try this person out." And they tried him out, and full-time employee, They gave him an intern actually. So I think that's how it happens. I wish there were more professionals in the industry. In the society I would like to see professionals who are in the industry, like allocating 1 to 2 hours a week to provide mentoring, connections, and actively helping those that are breaking into the industry. And there's a really good example of somebody who's doing this is, what's his face? God, I just remember him from this Joker role. There's an actor who very famously has a posse with him everywhere he goes. He has like 5 or 6 people that he takes with him everywhere. They're his inside posse, and all of them are trying to break into the industry, and they're with him all the time. And so he's got like these acolytes that are with him that are learning the thing, and he's decided to make that a part of his entire career. That he's always got 1 or 2 Padawan with him that he's mentoring. And I personally think that there's some real serious value in that form. That's the kind of education that humans have been doing since the dawn of time. And for some reason, the organizations of the world have caused us to not do that anymore. So if you could, but my point is, if you could reach out and you got to identify some professionals that you say, hey, would you mind, sometimes they're going to be bothered by it. And I wish that the cultural stigma for asking for help and giving help would just go away. I wish that we could build this mentorship kind of into it's kind of a social responsibility. There's no law about it. It's like, this is just the right thing to do. And if we could do that more, I think that we would all grow much better. That would naturally grow into employment opportunities. We would be getting, skills education as opposed to just the liberal arts education, which is also important. So yeah. Where did I get certificates from? Well, I don't know. It depends on the position to know. I don't know. Yeah, I initially ordered the standard copy before you realized the student guide too. Not sure I would have survived the other one. Oh, right. My apprenticeship in France paid for my studies and paid for the minimum wage. Truly amazing. I get a shiny piece of paper and no debt, work experience, and money. I hate you. Doppelgangster. There are countries that do this right, and that's kind of the way it should go. And we had an IRC in the 90s. Now we have Twitch chat. Hey, Straker, welcome. I agree unemployment benefits are unethical. Yeah, it's good to see you, Straker. I've interviewed people without a LinkedIn. It doesn't really matter to me as long as they can talk to the job they're applying for. Right. And Red, you've been one of our greatest community members in giving us that perspective. I really appreciate that. RWX Rob, will you send the details on Discord private message? Thank you. Yes, because I want to call them out for that. I mean, if they're doing things that are that level of illegal, unethical, then I'm going to call them out for it. I don't care. I'm kind of all amped up right now, which is why I should never be a dictator, somebody said. Being asked to create value for free as a learning opportunity is ridiculous. I agree, Lisa. Do I like it? No. The whole internship thing is mandated free labor that's controlled by the 1% oligarchy of the crony capitalism. I hate it. I'm just saying it's, well, maybe that's something else we should say no to. Lisa, maybe you got me. You're checking me on that. That might be something we just say no to. Say no to internships. You're either going to pay me or not. Goodbye. Somebody else the other night said that we're in a developer's, like real estate, right? It's a developer's market right now. And I don't know if that's true. I want to think that's true. But if you truly prepare yourself, you shouldn't have to suck it up and work for free just to prove your loyalty to the company. And by the way, if that's a company and that's how they operate, you might not want to work for them because they might not be the best company to work for, right? Unless you're sucking something out of them, and then it's just a mutual suckage. You're sucking an experience out of them, and they're sucking free work out of you, so that you can turn around and say, get an actual job, not with that company, right? By that logic, by the way, that would mean that you should never work for the company that you intern with, because they've proven they don't care about you. They gave you an internship and got you to work for them for free, and I don't know if that falls through for everybody. Most of the time, you have the skills needed to create value. All internships should be paid. I agree. I completely agree with that. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. Straker's in the U.S., yes. App Academy doesn't charge you until you get a job. Yeah, App Academy, there's a couple of them. That's kind of the, there's been the whole fallout from the boot camp stuff. So there's this boot camp craziness in 2013. 12. I actually started SkillStack around the same time, and I had to fight against the bootcamp stigma of what I was doing, because I was like, "You're just a bootcamp. Don't use that word with me. That's not what I do." And almost all of those boot camps have died on the vine. The funnest ones to watch, the most entertaining ones to watch die on the vine, so the ones that tried to pivot from web development to data science. It's like, not the same thing. Requires, you can't just all of a sudden tell your web developer instructors that they need to start teaching data science and machine learning. Those are the most entertaining, like, crash and burn situations that happen. But out of that, like, utter destruction has come. A couple of these boot camps that have risen out of it that survive are the ones, both of them have been mentioned, Lambda School and App Academy are there. And the new model is you don't get paid unless we get paid. And I still feel like sort of bullish on those kind of things. I think that that's probably a good idea because everybody's motivated for you to succeed at that point. And there's a bunch of criticisms of that, like people won't accept you. They only accept people they know are already going to succeed. And I don't even know if that's a bad thing. There's like a filtering process going on. Yeah, a lot of them don't charge until they get a job. So that's, if you're going to do something, I think if you're going to do boot camp, I think that's the way. I think you need a boot camp? Not necessarily. But everybody has to make the decision for their own learning style, right? I want to be in biotech and get paid $11 an hour for manual labor, feeding, growing, and counting cells. Wow. This is my first software job for $50K a year in 2000. Wow. I am Apos. How's it going? I still use IRC. I do too. I have a channel with some people in it that has been around since 2000. Nice. Yeah. Right. You can have it all. You can be an artist programmer, have kids, and work remote. You actually can. You can. It's hard. And don't discount luck, right? There's a lot of people who have inherited things. The whole capitalist documentary, particularly the Geniuses of the Modern Era about Marx, is super fascinating. It actually talks about how the capitalization and Saving Capitalism from Robert Reich, both of them talk about this issue of inherited wealth and how that's been the foundation of all the bad parts of capitalism. There's a lot of good parts too. So anyway, life is hard. Life is hard if you're soft. Deal with that mafia. Yeah, I did. I got stories, man. Come to give us a taste, comrade. Come give us a taste, comrade. Ну что же? Что вы хотите, чтобы я показал? Чтобы я вам показать? Я тоже сказал правильно. Я правильно. Ну как это сказать? Я забыл. I only experienced regular Catholic Church. We're just thinking about. We're not going to talk about religion right now. I found an internship myself, so I saw one got cut for finding it for me. Really? That's Rock and Jack. That's nice. I haven't put in a job for 5 years to tell recruiters the benefits I want to work with, and I let them go find it. Right? Data is your drug. Yeah, it's nice, right? It's so much better than a search engine, right? You have a human person who's out there working it for you. I wish product managers that are thought leaders weren't salespeople. But we're more analytical philosophers. I guess Marty Kagan would be an example. I'll have to read that, Red. Come back with me on that. I want to read that. Too much stuff I want to read. Tech Sensei. Robert's about guilds. It's talking about guilds. You start learning a job under the wings of experienced people. Is that what it's called? That's super cool. I didn't know that had a name or an organization. That's cool. I just saw somebody doing that. I thought it was really neat. I can't hire a dev right now. It's insane the amount of competition these days. Wow. Yeah. Speaking of salespeople, am I the only one who is tired of this developer advocates, or shall we salespeople version of the developer world? Developer advocates? I don't know. What is a developer advocate? I was actually looking at it as a job, perhaps, because apparently a developer who talks a lot, and that would be me. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know the full extent of the role. Evangelist too, right? You shouldn't work for a company you intern with, in my opinion. I was just mentioning that. Come in low, stay low. HRS restrictions like 3%. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, Nomad, Derek, I want to say I'm a completely agreement with you on that. I probably a lot of other people here too. One of the reasons that you really should prepare to leave a job every 5 years is because you can't, the way the dynamics work that I experienced, I don't know if it's changed, maybe it's changed, But in most companies, the dynamics of the 3% raises don't keep up with market value. They try really hard. But the problem is even though they'll keep up with market value for your given position, a lot of times on the job, if you're doing it right and you're learning other stuff, your value is increasing at a far greater rate than 3%. And so what ends up happening is it's like having a real estate that you have to flip in order to get the value. You have to flip jobs to get the true extra value, to get that ever bump, if that's what you're looking for. I actually ended up doing some things that kept me in my job longer than the 20 other people who got fired, which involved not being greedy. And I'm glad I did, because that kept me in that position for a long time. I got to be top dog for a while and on some of the projects because I was the last one standing in some cases. So I don't know. It's a very interesting dynamic, and having a recruiter on your side is always a great thing, because then you're not beholden to anybody. You know that you can bail anytime and go someplace else. Even if you have kids, you have really young kids, and there's nothing scarier about changing jobs than having really young children and a wife who depends on you and you being the only breadwinner. So having that recruiter in your pocket or helping you out is a good thing. Is it okay to have more professional skills than 1, 2, or 3? Where do you need to understand where is the limit? I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm just going to keep talking while I can. I really feel strongly about. I have a little story on that, and I want to tell it really quick. And this is sort of related to LinkedIn, but not really. So I started out as a developer. I told you my story. I was a Russian major. I had to get another job, so I was really into the internet. Learned web development. Told you that story. Got a job for an internet service provider. Got recruited into Nike as their internal webmaster, which I loved. Lots of opportunities in there. And was primarily a developer, but I was also really interested in Linux and playing around with that a lot. At the height of right before the .com burst, I switched jobs to IBM, and while I was at IBM, they hired me for a lot of money to do some financial applications, and then that project went away because the .com bubble burst. And while I was there, I was stuck. I mean, I had been doing Linux skills on the side because I like doing it. I had Linux in my garage, building up a network and everything. But I wasn't getting paid for it. I was getting paid for Java development and for web development and stuff like that. So this speaks to your question about skills you need. And I kept my Linux skills up. And so then when I was on this called on the bench at IBM, I had to fight another career. And really quickly, I had to learn the whole system, literally from my closet, by the way. My office was in my closet with clothes all around me. It was the weirdest thing. I'll never forget. I was on mainframe looking around for other job opportunities. I found the system administration position, and I applied for it. And I said, look, I don't have any direct experience with system administration, but I maintain my own Linux thing. And the thing I've always wanted to do it, I'm really passionate about it. I started tuckzone.net, which is gone now, and I'd always really liked it. And so I jumped the fence when the .com bubble burst, and I started doing sysadmin. And I was a junior sysadmin, but I had been keeping my system administration skills up. I was running my own mail server from home and thing. So the question about professional skills in the tech arena, I think it pays to have skills that cross the barrier. And, like Davidson College comes to mind. They have a NOC and a SOC, a software operations center and a network operations center. One of them is more SRE, and the SRE role is supposed to be sort of, spanning that divide. So you got engineers who are mainly keeping things running and backing stuff up. You got people making new stuff. And here's the conclusion on the skills thing. So the economy goes like this. And what happens is when the economy goes south, and I witnessed this, when the economy goes south, all the money comes out of new developers. And we just had Red Panda said he can't hire a dev right now because the competitions are like, oh, he can't find a dev probably. But here's the thing: when the tech is on and there's no bubble and there's a lot of demand and there's good economy, there's people, the devs are making they own it. And they make crazy amounts of money because all these companies are trying to distinguish themselves from their competition. And so they're hire, and they're paying more money, and there's lots of good money in it. But then when the economy goes bad, what happens? All of the new development gets tanked. It goes away, and all the money gets shifted back into maintaining what they already have. So now they're maintaining the sysadmins and the SREs and everybody like that is like making bank. People writing monitoring and all this, setting up internal cloud systems so they don't have to go out and pay whatever saves the company money because the economy's bad. So when it's booming, they're making new things to compete and stay competitive, and there's really big money in development when that happens. And then when that money shifts out, they go back. So if you're a technologist and you want to be constantly employed. And I believe this is why the SRE rule literally requires coding now. And you can read the whole SRE book from Google. It talks all about the breakdown. They're not allowed to work a certain amount of time just on engineering tasks. They have to also work on development, because no company, Google included, wants to get caught out without a group of people who can both create automations and code and create new systems. And they need to have people that, for them, if they needed to reskill, they could do it pretty easily. So the takeaway, and that's a lot to say, but the takeaway is in response to this comment, is to have more than one professional skill. I think it is. Ironically, though, in order to get that first job, you need to be the best at it. So if you spend too much time being a jack of all trades, you're not going to have enough compelling, expertise to get you that one job ahead of your competition. So, but once you get the job, I think maintaining skills across the divide is really important in tech, because you don't know what's going to happen, and it'll help you weather the storms when they come up. That's a lot to say there, but I worked for a company I interned with. I had $500 stipend per month as an intern, and they paid my month. Okay, I think we're about ready to wrap up. I'm going to go through these comments, though. These are great comments. I had $500 stipend per month. I worked for a month, and they decided my pay. A month later, they said $11. Wow. Myself for a long time. I had a 24-hour job on the side installing software for colleges. Wow. Crony capitalism, yes. Lol. Because the Mac, Guyver, no one talks about trickle-down economics except the people who attack it. No one supports such a theory because the theory doesn't exist. Common myth. Yeah. Stringer, that's my point. My passion in life is listening to Rob's rants. I know, I'm hungry too. Can we just stop now and go get some food? Strager, I'm confused. Okay. Strager, new gaming computer rocks. What is the technology evangelist? I don't know. Competition for dev jobs is mainly for entry and mid-level positions. For entry-level positions, there's thousands of developers trying to get the same job. True. Senior positions as a developer, I think that's a fair observation, and there's nothing that says that you can't make yourself a senior developer without having any experience. I've seen people do it. I've seen people like totally throw themselves into like just one thing, and get really, really good at that one thing that they know is employable. I actually did that with Perl in order to break into the industry. I said, I'm going to become the world's best expert in Perl. That's hyperbole, but I told myself I was going to do that. And sure enough, the jobs just came. And I am not exaggerating. When I got hired, she apologized for not paying more money because I identified a super in-demand skill and put all my chips on that. Made sure I was like what I felt like I was definitely up there with the best in the world at the time because I really poured myself into that one thing. But I was desperate, man. I had to get that job. YouTube DL can save odds. Yes. Stricker, this is a choice I have to make. It is used as an argument for giving relief bills. Right. We're talking about the trickle down stuff. Crony capitalism is basically reverse socialism with communism. Is scary. Yeah. I think that it's thought about engineering being more missionary than mercenary. Yeah. When you're brought into a project in tech and the idea, et cetera, that you are more likely to be fulfilled by than being told to fight this fire, that fire. Interesting. Yeah, I really liked that part of it. I liked the firefighter thing. I liked, working out when nothing was going down and then being the hero. I really love that about the system administrator job. A lot of people don't, but I love that. I kind of miss that because the coding was interesting, but it wasn't like your project was going to get thrown out because they decided to not go with that product or something. So you're writing automations, you're writing scripts to save the world when the world was burning. And that's something about the system administration role that I really, really love. Plus it's very varied. It's not like you're just coding Java all day, or something. Yeah. Following my passion or putting food on the table. It's true. Look, that's a sacrifice. You can be a singer-songwriter and play on the corner side of the street for money that goes in your hat. Probably time for us to go get food. All right. So, let's see. I was trying to get a PhD in user experience through usage mining, but my supervising professor left. The new requested another 2 years of part-time employment, so I left. I had no context in the industry. I found a recruiter that got me into the software industry. It was very helpful to have one. Maluba, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing it. 'Cause that was my experience. I didn't think the position that I ended up getting was even possible until a recruiter who had been referred by a friend of mine who had left the company at Nike reached out to me. And that was when everything all started happening for me. So it was, I thank that recruiter. To this day, I beat myself up for losing contact with that guy because he was so cool. And I somehow let the contact lose. And I don't know who to blame it on, I guess one of the takeaways from this is, particularly if you're going to get rid of LinkedIn like I am, is, figure out some way to maintain your contacts with the important people in your life who are in your business that doesn't have anything to do with LinkedIn. And make sure you have that backed up and get someplace in a private repo. Because I would pay $300 right now to have access to that guy again if I could find him. Because he was so amazing. I mean, he was a bass fisherman. He was completely different politically oriented than me, but he was just awesome. He was just an awesome recruiter. And so hopefully you'll find that. Use Facebook. That ain't happening. So here we go. I would say see the limited personal desire, keep skills in the realm of interest. I'm going on Aerosys, but I learned programming on the side. Nice. But sometimes you need to make sacrifices. This is true. Exactly. How exactly means bye-bye LinkedIn? It means I'm getting rid of it. I'm dropping LinkedIn. Enjoy the rant in Discord PM about the LinkedIn thing. Thanks, Akari. 1 day away from seeing the last day of 2020. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Yeah, this is I think part of why I woke up. I drank my coffee. I read this absolute bullshit on LinkedIn, and this has been going on for the last week or so because I've been doing the job search thing, and I was like, I'm done. I'm totally done. So that's a good way to wrap up. Striger, you're making me laugh there. Summary of LinkedIn. Hi, we see you have decades of experience in tech architecture. We have a 3-month cable technical contract. It's very competitive pay at $13 an hour. I could tell our chat's winding down. Thank you so much for the contributions here. You guys are at the best. I mean, the things that you've said, and you're making me just, I don't know. I have hope, and you know what? We don't need LinkedIn to tell us that we need them. Maybe LinkedIn got the brunt of my ire today because I was just so done with the idea of paternalism that we keep. And I've been reading about it. So that's one of the ways that Freire talks about the middle class in particular gets owned is through this kind of maternalistic manipulation. And I feel like I have been really subjected to that a lot. And I'm just done with it. I'm done with 2020. I'm done with people controlling my life. I want to help more people take control of their lives. And that means, taking on some courage. And I hope I don't, you know what? It might work, it might not. I have faith. I have faith and I have hope. And not more than that, I am busy and I'm working hard to make this place better. And that includes my own life. And I think we can do it as long as we stick together. I think that's the important part. And I told you last night, I am never giving up this live stream again. Mark my words, clip me if you want. I am never, ever giving up this live stream. You know why? Because this is where change is happening. Not just my stream, Strager's stream, everybody's stream. Our society is connecting with each other and we are supporting each other despite the system. Yes, we are using systems that are controlled by the 1% crony capitalists, but so be it. We are connecting. We are making the difference. And I am totally amped up to keep that going. And if that means that I have to make other sacrifices to keep this stream going, I'll do it. Because my friendships with you, I've never met you, of course, are very real in every sense. I cannot thank you enough for the stuff you brought to the table. And I hope in some small way that, what I'm bringing, and I believe a lot of other streamers feel the same way, is helping us all. Some of us just like to talk more. So we put cameras on our face, right, Strager? So, yeah. I'm just reading the last few comments here to make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. Thanks for the love, people. And you can go watch if you didn't catch the whole rant, you can catch it at the end of the thing. And I'm gonna go eat, and I suggest you do it too. And again, I'm giving it a whole week in case I'm overly amped up on coffee and I need to rethink this one, but I don't think I am. I think I know what's gonna happen. Oh no, Clementino's in just in time. Just in time. Welcome to the chat. Bye, everybody. Oh, it's so funny. You guys are the best.